All right, so we're here. Where the fuck should we go? Should we go starting at a cult, or should we go with American things that Americans don't know are only American?
You know what? I think we should do the occult.
Okay, cults are good. Have you ever been in a cult? First of all,
I have made a cult.
are you serious? Just like
I
joke?
had played a game, and in the multiplayer, it was a zombie game. And it was like a relatively popular server that I was in.
Right.
And I made a cult. It was a cult of flares, and people would run through town throwing multicolored flares into the sky and then run and scatter.
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty impressive, man. I knew you were a troublemaker, but I didn't know you were all culty about it. I'm wearing my Christmas cat sweater.
I can only imagine that looks amazing.
Well, first of all, it looked fabulous. So let's not get that, fucking twisted. So what happened was I had bought this shirt, but then I washed it, and then it shrunk, and then I lost weight so now I can wear it again. So I'm just gonna wear it at all times possible because, when things come fitting, it's a smitten. Whatever. Here we go.
Former cult members of Reddit. At what moment did you go? Oh no, I'm an occult. I used to practice kung fu at what was basically the most McDojo place ever. On top of all the usual money grabbing bullshit, the Grand Master changed his title to something like His Celestial Holiness and started getting his students to travel to the woods to build his temple.
Oh yeah.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
Was accidentally in a religious cult.
That is one hell of a sentence, isn't it? I was accidentally in a religious cult. Holy fuck.
It's like, I'd like to imagine he was like bringing them out there and was like, come on, I'll write this off as extra credit for extracurricular activity. Come on, let's build a temple.
I would see
child
how the
labor
would treat non-members and members that didn't comply with what he wanted, and I would think I hope he doesn't start acting this way towards me. He would berate people, gossip, expect us to stay at his house until late hours, forbid us to hang out with non-members, and he even asked me to move in there when I already had my own place.
See, that is some suspicious shit.
I noticed it was a cult when I told them I was hanging out with an old friend, and they proceeded to ask why was I doing that, and that they were my friends. I came to a service that following Sunday and the pastor sees me and says I had a message I was going to preach, but I'm going to preach a different message today. The whole service was pretty much him talking shit about me and making rude jokes.
What the fuck?
I knew this sermon was about me when he kept referencing the person hanging out with other people and saying it was sinful and of the world. I never felt so embarrassed in my life with everyone laughing at me. I sat that entire service just embarrassed. Once I left, several of the members attempted to contact me, with a few of them trying to go to the movies with me at midnight, when they knew damn well the closest movie theater was an hour away. And what movie theater shows movies at midnight? After I stopped going to that church, a few of the members
I'm saying that's not safe at all.
Completely stopped talking to me despite us being friends. Still can't believe that happened to me.
That's one fucking hell of a story. And it's just mild enough so you know that shit is completely true. Like the details in this is not one that one would make up just to pretend to be in a cult for the internet.
I like to imagine though that situation, like he walks in the front door and he sees the guy preaching or his whatever, and he's on the microphone and he goes,
alright, I was gonna say something. Well, I see this little bitch right here, so I got something else to say now.
I see this little bitch over here. I got a bone to pick with you and your other friends, says religious cult.
I thought we had something special. We were friends.
My time with Primerica.
Primerica, bro. That place is out here. That place is out here in Vegas, bro. They be trying to set up my niggas. I had to hurt so many people's feelings. I'm like, bro, this place is charging you money so you can try to go make money. That don't sound right, do it? You pay a monthly fee to go to their shit, to buy their shit, so they let you make money with them. How does that make any fucking sense?
So, you paying them to have a job.
Bro, you gotta pay money to get in. Then you gotta pay money to use their services so you can make money using that company. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Clapping and loud music prevents thinking and conversation.
It does.
Big events with clapping, music, doing things like
that's how they do it.
Prevents thinking, conversation, and encourages conforming. Several speeches from Meyer Klein about how we shouldn't spend our time with people who don't want to be a part of the company.
Dude, I almost lost a friend, a really good friend because of that shit.
Including family and lifelong friends. Planning on moving into the same community together that was referred to as the Primerica Estate.
That's real shit.
Parents had a Halloween party planned the same night as my Primerica office's Halloween party.
You did.
I was chewed out for picking family over company.
Family. Good job.
We traveled to events out of state. It was frowned upon for us to travel on our own. They wanted us to go on a bus or van together. The idea that someone would be happier doing something other than Primerica.
Ridiculous.
Comical. Surgeons, lawyers, military officers, scientists, all would be better off joining Primerica and giving up their jobs.
But that place is just a fat ass scam. And what they do is they rent out these little cheap ass offices around Vegas, because there's plenty of office space in Vegas where, you know, there's nothing at, and they just like slap a fucking office in there and then just start drawing people in, having people meet up, bring all their family or friends in. And they fucking play you, dude. That shit is so fucking irritating.
That is like the best, most efficient sounding scam I've ever heard.
Bro, it is really efficient. I'm not
How
gonna
come
lie.
I didn't think of, yo, you pay me to work for me.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. That shit is pretty fucking slick. Like, I was.
How come I couldn't think
We
of that?
should come up with one of those, yo. We should come up with one of those things, like, and just have people, you know, pay us and then like buy houses from us before we build them and shit. That'd be dope.
Sitting hurt, I convinced my mother to allow me to walk around during the multi-hour long services in the library/overflow room downstairs that had a speaker blaring whatever was going on at the pulpit. In that library was all the original cult publications from 80 plus years previous. No one ever paid any attention to them, but I was a voracious reader. They were into some wackadoo shit at the beginning
Wackadoo!
that totally contradicted the current teachings. Pyramid power, numerology. I never said anything because it was a closed society, and questioning meant total shunning. But from that point on I was aware that it was all garbage, and I spent most of my time planning my escape. When I finally publicly called bullshit 6 years later, I lost everyone and everything.
Whoa!
Life sucked for a while, but 10/10ths would do it again. Don't answer the door when Jehovah's Witnesses come knocking, especially if you have children. They're hiding tens of thousands of pedophiles in their ranks. FN weirdo doomsday bastards.
Oh my god. Alright, what's up?
I was gonna say, so they went to a church that was built off like branching out of a cult and expected shit to not be wrong. Like they expected, it'll be fine. This is just a community that was a branch from a cult.
So I don't want to
mysteriously disappear.
So I don't want to shit on religions in general, but a lot of people in a lot of different like religious teachings. Because anybody can like make a church and call it whatever they want to call it. So that's where some of these things come from. That's why they talk about Jehovah's Witnesses finally like outing like what group these people belong to. But not every group is bad. A lot of groups believe that God makes the word of the church. And so if you're like an ordained minister or priest or, whatever, lead of whatever, you can trust in them because God is literally speaking through them and the word will be protected through like the Holy Ghost if you believe in the Holy Ghost and stuff like that. That is how that system works. Even if they're making up a sermon, as it goes, right? And they're riffing with the audience, if you will. They're riffing off of Jesus. You know what I mean? That's how
they're siphoning some of that good old Jesus power.
Yep. And then that's how people think. So that's also why people believe that you can like rewrite religious texts like the Bible, right? They believe that it is like, God is helping the translation mean the same thing, even though you're translating into different languages and stuff like that. Yeah, people just act like you can translate other texts however you want.
That word doesn't mean this. But it'd be nice if it did.
Yeah, bro, but literally, like, you have to deal with so much culture shock through translations where the literal translation does not make sense. It needs to be interpreted, but interpreters have bias based on their previous knowledge and their views of the culture. So for me, it seems completely ridiculous to think that any religious text would mean the same thing in English as it meant in the language it was written in, when you can't even get shit like war text correct, and that's immensely simpler than religious text. And so that, but you know, as an intellectual, I digress, right? Not the point, just saying, don't get caught up. All right, let's move on.
Obligatory not me, but my friend's grandfather was a farmer growing up, think 1940s or 50s. It was kind of a remote town, but he would talk to other farmers and buyers when he went down to the market. One day, an acquaintance of his tells him that they're having a meeting with whole bunch of other farmers and farm hands, and that he should come and join.
This shit sounds like a great
My
movie.
friend's grandfather, thinking it's some sort of farmers alliance, is like,
yeah,
sure,
right. It
why
can't be
not?
anything weird.
Friend's grandpa goes to the meeting and is a bit confused when it's not about farming at all. It's a KKK meeting.
Oh.
He has a no crap, I'm in a cult moment, but waits till it's over because he doesn't know what will happen if someone sees him trying to leave. Meeting ends. He goes home. Dude tries to invite him again, and friend's grandpa notes out of there. Edit. Some have brought up that the KKK isn't a cult.
Hey, go fuck yourself. That's my answer to that. Please continue.
More of a hate group / gang. I always thought it was a cult, but hey, you learn something new every day. Carry on. Mine wasn't
Yeah,
a
they're
typical
pretty cultish, man. Like with the whole secret meetings kind of thing, it's pretty cultish.
definition
reminds
of a
me
cult,
of-
but I
No, please. You've been to a KKK meeting? I'd love to hear about it. I'm not invited.
not at all.
For obvious reasons.
However, in that same game, I said that I made my own
no, you
cult
didn't.
in.
You didn't.
I witnessed someone after the Halloween event running down in one of the streets in a ghost costume.
Why y'all like this? Why are you guys like this? That's what I just want to know. I'm moving on.
No.
Spoof. You're cut off, Spoof.
I sniped him, if that makes it better. I shot
It
him.
kind of does a little bit. A little Antifa of
It
you,
was
though.
very funny when you got to hear the cut off of his microphone as he's just slowly walking down the street. And it's like, God hate, boom! He's just gone.
That's fucked up.
Best use of the grizzly. Bullet well spent. Alright, let's continue.
realized Jehovah's Witnesses were pretty delusional by about 12 to 13 years old. Took me a few more years to get out due to my father being an elder and someone who had no problem physically forcing his son to go to meetings and out in service. Door knocking. Sounds like a corny fake scenario, but it took me being tough enough to fight him off. Was asked to leave the house at 17 while still in
They will
grade
do that
12,
shit, bro.
So I did. I had a job and had an older friend to live with. That's when I realized it was, in my opinion, a cult. That you would turn on your son because he didn't believe what you believe. That you would beat your son because he was being bullied at school and couldn't stand door knocking anymore in his own neighborhood where he encountered classmates either at their house or as they were riding their bikes down the street on a sunny Saturday morning with me walking with my dad in a suit and tie with a briefcase full of maniac ravings about living forever.
Holy shit, it got real deep there at the end, didn't it? Wow, that's a lot of angst there. And so, you know, I try to remember people, do not be angsty about your anti-religion, okay? If you take some of that angst out, you'll get through to people a lot more. But nobody likes a holier-than-thou religious person, and nobody likes a angsty agnostic, maybe, or atheist, maybe, you know.
Yeah, I think it's...
Whichever one. I'm just saying, like, maybe
You're the one who believes in the ferryman in the sky, so I'm clearly smarter.
Yeah. Nobody likes either one of those, man. Don't be one. You sound all pimply, and nobody wants to sound pimply.
I can hear the pimples in your voice.
That's a good one, I think. That's a good one.
When they said I'm going to marry someone from Korea, when I said no, they said they already bought a plane ticket.
Oh, shit.
I was actually in a church that transformed slowly into a cult.
Man.
They just slowly started doing more and more miracles and being open more and more days open with encouragement to be there for those days. Tithes became incredibly important and the priest family became more and more important.
Because they realized, even though that shit is stupid, it's like clickbaiting on YouTube, right? It'd be dumb as fuck, but you realize that shit gets you paid. That's why your favorite YouTuber will be like, oh, cheating on my ex-girlfriend prank. It'll be a horribly made prank with some stupid ass prank shit. Because they realize if a lot of people, they'll pay me more. That's why you gotta deal with humble people, man. That should be pissing me off, dude.
I left, but I heard some insane things happened after I left.
Dumb.
I was lucky as I came from a really complicated low socioeconomic background. When I moved for uni, there wasn't much fight for me.
Dude, there was this issue at the church my parents go to where they started this website investment where you sell like third-party goods that nobody fucking wants. Like, you know, a lot of suspicious shit like lose weight pills that obviously don't work, or like organic drinks and shit, right? You follow me?
Snake.
Like cable, like a third-party cable company that nobody's gonna ever fucking use, right? And it's a pyramid scheme where if I sign up and pay somebody else, and then I get paid if I get other people to sign up, then I get paid, right? And they had a convention.
It's like the more people you get, it's a pyramid.
It's a pyramid scheme,
you
bro.
Get people under you.
It's technically not as far as like getting sued is involved because of the contracts, but it is a pyramid scheme in the fact that you make money off of other people paying you money in subscriptions, not actually selling a product, okay? The business is not about selling a product. It's about selling worker subscriptions, all right? There's a big difference. Don't get caught up in that shit because it sounds real good. But anywho's, and so they had the lady, who was the priest's wife, come to a meeting and have everybody at the meeting sign up with her. So she made money off of everybody in the church. That shit is so fucked up to me.
Casa del clickbait.
Dude, hey, that's why people do that dumb shit, man. Start doing miracles in church. We had an old church that we went to that started doing miracle shit, getting demons out of people's homes and shit. Get the fuck out of here, bro. That person donated their mortgage to you, the next church, and you don't think that's a fucking coincidence? Because it's not. I donated my $10,000 to the church that year because they got the demon out of my mom and cured her cancer. Y'all are fucking, that's just fucked up.
3 things happened.
Hopefully they saved the
One
best
point,
for
a
last,
person died
because
from
a lot of the stuff
suspicious
that sounded real, but a little
circumstances,
underwhelming.
loosely tied to the group, and none of the adults would listen to me, that he did not commit suicide. 2 point, I started to meet those back parking lot kids at school, who were into free thinking and questioning religion. Most are artists and successful loving parents now. 3 point, couple those things with the fact that the youth group weekly Bible study leader thought she could actually see demons and the head youth leader was backing her up on her claims. I was pretty ready to leave when I turned 18. I did not go back. Edit. I forgot. My mother tried to exorcise demons from me when I was 18.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I came home late at 11:30
that's
p.m.
a good one.
I was an A/B student. Had maybe smoked pot like 2x. Was a virgin and all in all a pretty good kid. I had no language or education at that point. To argue that I was, in fact, not possessed by the devil, because you can't argue with crazy.
Yo, some of these
She's
is really...
kicked me out a few weeks later, and I stayed with a family of Wiccans before I moved to my first shared
family of
apartment.
Wiccans.
When
What's
I
a Wiccan?
realized how dead
Witch.
serious they
They
were
believe
about
in
it.
witch.
Nazi? Hang on. They just slid that
Yeah,
in
I
there as
know.
we were talking about.
When I realized how dead serious they were about their Nazi bullshit. Well, that's one hell of a realization. But Wiccans, people who believe in witchcraft and witches and sorcery and stuff.
Oh, I
Like,
got you.
unironically, bro. Like, they, like...
Yeah, I've heard of that. I didn't know that was what it was called.
Fam, it's like real. Like voodoo and shit, like they really be on that shit. It's like a whole book and shit that comes with it. It's crazy.
When I learned our founding prophet would send men on missions, so he could hump their wives and
Oh,
daughters.
man.
Or maybe when I learned our cult had over 40 billion in the stock market.
40 billion?
And over 100 billion in assets.
40 billion?
But only uses 0.5% of the donations it receives to help the poor.
Hey, that shit's true.
Or maybe when our 94-year-old prophet's latest revelation was to take vitamins. Then they started
You couldn't
with
tell,
the
but I
music.
looked really
They put
intensely at the
those
camera
Christian
just
rock
then.
songs they usually use at normal Christian youth groups, but they started dancing like maniacs, jumping everywhere, flailing their arms, and the weirdest of all, laughing uncontrollably. Then, in 1 second, they all threw themselves to ground, got on their knees, and started crying like their mother had just been brutally murdered. After this they got up, and started dancing and laughing again,
Okay.
as if nothing ever happened. I was seriously creeped out at this point, but this was only the beginning. They started with this weird ritual where they promised to perform any miracle you wanted or needed, as Christ allowed them to do so. A kid said he wanted to get taller, and so they put their hands all over him, and starting murmuring prayers for a
What the
while.
fuck?
Then they put him against a wall, and they claimed he had at least grown 3 centimeters. He believed them. Like, seriously believed them. Later, they claimed that they could turn
Oh
water
my.
into wine, and grabbed a bottle of water, put their hands on top of it and prayed again. The water didn't change at all, but they all drank from it and claimed it tasted like wine and claimed they were getting drunk from it while laughing hysterically again. Finally the reunion ended and they continued being as normal as they were before, as if nothing had happened. I left and when they tried to contact me again I just ignored them.
And y'all wonder why I don't believe all y'all fucking stories you tell me on Discord voice chat. Because I know people do shit like this, bro. Are you also this motherfucker? Do you want to come tell me about your crazy life story that happened to you? 100% no lies? Get the fuck out of here. That's why don't trust anybody on the internet. Every woman that contacts you is a dude, and keep your penis in your pocket. We'll see you in the next one, ChavezzSlovakia.